Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, take 25. We have been running into technical difficulties today, as you may notice, because this is not our normal setup. It looks a little bit different. Brad over there on my screen. So yeah, we are using Discord this time instead of Skype, because Skype's not working. So hopefully this works for us, even though it looks a little funky and it's our first time using Discord. I need to get that figured out. Anyways, welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where we are untethered from everything, including our own brains. I'm not Brad, and that's not Josh. And cue highlights, Brad. Song in the Smoke, right?
Oh my god. Yes. At this point, I've spoken about it more than I've played it. So I'll just say that the tutorial is interesting. I just wish it would come up before you actually get to the point of death. And I was sort of upset that when I went to start the game, the opening splash screen has a website to go for survival tips, which is kind of interesting, as opposed to just incorporating that into the tutorial, which I would have thought, like most games, it would do, since it's not supposed to be a very fast game and you're supposed to be able to learn as you go. And dying is really not a very good way of learning it. But anyway, you do remember what happened to you. So it's just a little disorienting to jump back in a game after 40 minutes of playing it and then, having to start over again. So I'm going to be replaying that this weekend and giving you another opinion of it next week.
Sounds like fun. Meanwhile,
gun grips. Oh, you're talking over. Okay. No, now that you've become two little blue squares in the center of my screen that are just circling each other, you've become different. Anyway, I bought gun grips, pistol grips for the Quest. Which pretty cool. I mean, obviously you can't see it when you're playing, but they do feel more like guns in your hand. And
true. You don't need to fill the silence. I've got my mic muted because it's getting a lot of background noise, and when I'm ready to jump in, I am unmuting. So you don't need to try to fill the silence. It's because you can't see me.
Okay, no problem.
I'm waiting for silence so I can start talking without talking over you. So anyways, because we're a little rushed for time now, unfortunately, because of how long all the technical issues have taken us. My highlights were I got to play the new Walkabout mini golf course with my wife last night on hard mode, and it proved a little bit harder than the other hard mode courses did. I think I got a score of plus 23. She got a score of plus 28. But we did go through all of the fox hunt stuff and gather all the clues and unlock the special golf club for that course. My other highlight is I had wanted to be playing through Lone Echo in preparation of or for the Lone Echo 2 launch. It ended up being on the back burner for a little bit, and I recently got back into it, and I'm now trying. I got the mysterious ship restarted on the engines or the power core, and now I'm trying to make my way back through the biomass, which is random, or not randomly, but is activating and then deactivating, activating and deactivating, because there was a pulse of power coming through every few seconds that just makes it light up and they become alive and trying to get me, and then it goes dead again, and then it comes back to life, and then it goes dead again. So, and just some of the spaces that you have to go through are like if you lift your head just an inch, you'll bump into a biomass and die. So,
Okay. But it sounds immersive.
yes, and that so it kept me up until 5 o'clock this morning. So
Sounds very
because there are no uh, everything leads right into the next thing, so there's no natural feeling, okay, I can stop and save here,
right.
so
Well, once again, it sounds very immersive, but
yeah,
maybe too immersive if you couldn't get out of it until 5 a.m.
something like that. So
It's sort of, but at least you're getting your joy from the game, so that's good.
yeah, and let's move on to our new releases.
Oh my God.
Yes. What?
I hope you people have a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have not tried it yet. So the full game. I am planning on getting it when I get a chance, though. Eye of the Temple was just releasing last week for PC VR, and obviously Lone Echo 2 came out last week. I'm sure you have heard of that. If you haven't heard of that, you've been living under a rock, because I just talked about it.
Exactly.
So, I have the Temple is that room scale one where they do an excellent job of manipulating your movements so that it gives the impression of moving around a giant area, and yet you're in your 6 by 6 foot space.
The only problem I have with those types of games is I always seem to find the Guardian at some point lighting up.
Well, make your Guardian a little bit bigger.
Well, that would be difficult.
I know, yeah.
IT,
Well,
so.
or turn down the sensitivity of your Guardian, so that is only lighting up when you're doing a fast motion toward it rather than just being near it.
Well, it's funny because I just played T for God for the first time the other day, and that's amazing. Just the way that
I mean so that does a great job. I have the Temple is more of a fixed thing. It doesn't procedurally generate, so.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was, like I said, T for God. It wasn't graphically immersive, but I certainly got into the play very quickly. And the corridors that it creates. I was also using Traversal the other day, and I used Gallery. And oh my God, it really is incredible how these guys have manipulated space. And yeah, how it keeps you walking around in this 6 by 6 foot area, and you just feel like, except for that Guardian, like you're just constantly in motion in this space where if anybody was watching you, they would have to be laughing.
Right.
But, I think that T for God with some graphical improvements would be an amazing game.
Well, yeah, it's a great game and would, it's kind of simplistic graphics on it, which is not a bad thing, but necessarily in and of itself.
Well, it's not so much even the simplistic graphics, but when you turn the corridor and there's a laser beam on the ceiling that goes boom, 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 and you're dead, it's like, what?
Well, that's not a graphical thing. You were just saying with better graphics. That's not a graphical thing.
No, I understand. I do understand that wasn't the graphical thing, although it's the graphics of the explosion coming at you were very reminiscent of Atari.
Well, yeah, and that's what I meant, that it's got simplified graphics, because it was initially done as like basically a tech demo, a proof of concept sort of thing, and then it's evolved into really a full-fledged game now.
Right, which is really kind of cool. Actually, the one I'm looking forward to playing is Gladius. Gorn was fun. I enjoyed Gorn. But Gladius, you're actually, according to the game description and the size of the download, it's supposed to be a lot more Roman gladiator style.
Right. So, anyways, let us. Um, hmm. Okay, I was trying to see if I could get the webcam working a little bit better so you can actually see me, but nope. Okay. Um, Lone Echo 2 is also one of the new release titles, obviously. This is a sequel to Lone Echo. If you haven't played through Lone Echo, I don't want to give any spoilers,
And
but you end up somewhere completely different at the end of the game, and Lone Echo 2 picks up from that story. Once again, you play as Jack, the Echo 1 unit, and once again, you are reassembled by Olivia. Once again, it's just you and her until later on. Because in this one, I have seen some, some spoiler stuff from it later on, where there are other actual human characters you are talking to in this one, and um, this is. It looks really cool, what I have seen so far, and I'm looking forward to playing it when I get a chance. But I'm playing through Lone Echo first, so that I've got the full story experience.
it would
You
seem
know,
to make sense.
yeah,
And it's supposed to be a pretty expansive story, so.
yeah. And I've also heard that some people complain that it's slow and glacial and quote unquote safe. And well, and they were complaining that there weren't new mechanics or whatever. Well, it's not necessarily supposed to be new mechanics.
Right.
You
I
know,
mean, I don't get it. Everybody wants something that's not in there, but doesn't need to be in there. So
right,
why bother asking for it? I mean,
right, right.
you
Yeah,
know,
and yeah, it's like Lone Echo was a little bit of a slower game as well. It wasn't a fast-moving, action-paced game. I mean, it had some moments, but it's mostly, if you to think about it, it's mostly puzzles. You
well,
are you're
part
figuring
of the
out how to navigate past the biomass. You need to figure out what you need to do to get the generator going again, etc. No,
it's all puzzles,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
So
but they have to do that, otherwise the game is just a bore. I think every game has some puzzle in it. Something you have to
right,
solve in order
right,
to continue.
right. So to me, this seems like a faithful continuation of the story that is keeping the same feel and the same vibe and the same mechanics, which is what you want in a story. But
And you don't have to change mechanics in the middle of a game. That's
right,
crazy because it's supposed to be one game, just a
right,
continuation.
right, exactly. Um, the that said, supposedly you get a weapon of some sort in on Echo 2, but it's still not an overpowered weapon because they don't want combat to be the focus of the game. This is a story-driven,
Right.
a puzzle-driven game. It's not a combat game. It's not a first-person shooter.
Right,
And
exactly.
for it to turn into a first-person shooter, which is what I think some of the reviewers wanted, that would completely change it.
Right. No, no, understood. But that's
Yeah.
just it. What people want and what the game actually is are two different things, and we
Yeah.
should
Yep.
review the game for what it is and not for what other people want.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, but once again, as long as you understand that it's story driven and it's not going to be Warhammer and you're not going to be
Right.
playing, something where you're just constantly firing,
Right.
then yeah, great, go with it. If not, find another game. That's just it.
Yeah.
There's enough games in enough genres right now that you can find something
Yeah.
that you're going to be happy with, as opposed to complaining about what the game you're playing with doesn't have.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Right. So, anyways, let's move on to MVP football, the Patrick Mahomes experience. I'm assuming I am pronouncing that name right. I really don't know, as I don't really follow football.
Same here, unfortunately. So I guess we're both kind of
Out of the loop.
not really the people. But it looks like an interesting game if you
Yeah,
want to
it's
just do it.
um, I I look at it as kind of a football version of Guitar Hero, where you start out as a garage band and then you make your way to fame and fortune and glory. Only this is you are starting out as Patrick Mahomes in high school and you make your way into being on a Super Bowl winning team. So,
Not bad. Do they
yeah,
give you a ring at the too?
I
Already.
don't know. I would imagine, but I don't know. Um, but I have read that it's a little bit arcadey at points. It's not necessarily full on simulation, but it, I, I would be
So,
more than okay with that because I wouldn't want to have to actually tackle midair or to tackle someone. But,
seriously, isn't every game somewhat arcadey?
yes,
You know,
yes,
so
yes,
to call any game more arcadey than another game is simply whether or not that gets in your way playing the game.
yes,
But every game has its arcade moments.
yep,
So I can't take that very seriously either.
yeah,
Unless the whole game
yeah,
is arcade.
yeah. I
Okay.
know. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Voodoo. Fandango has released their movie watching app, Voodoo, for the Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, I just don't know yet. It's
So,
like,
yeah. So now you can watch movies in yet another way on your Quest. Because that's
that's
what the Quest is for watching movies.
well, that's what for. I mean, that's it. That's the latest and greatest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out who that's for in its current state.
Yeah. So, anyways, not really a whole lot to be said about that, except I believe that right now it doesn't support co-watching or multiplayer watching. That may come in a future update, who knows? But right now it's just uh, a single user watching you,
Right.
if you have it. So, upcoming titles. We have Power Beats VR coming out on October 20th for the Quest. I have played this on Steam. It's a very fun game. It kind of feels satisfying to see the giant stone balls coming at you and then smash them with your hands. You
Okay,
know?
sort of like
It's a
been
rhythm
thrown.
game. It's a yeah, it's a rhythm game, and you punch the balls. You can. It doesn't matter which hand, as long as you are punching the balls. If you really wanted to, you could punch all of them with your your left hand only, no matter which side they were on, and and it has some fitness tracking integration into it, and it will ask you what your height and weight and age is, so that it can do a more accurate calorie calculation for you. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's got
Awesome.
some fun music. It's got leaderboards. So it's got all that stuff. So
But we have so many rhythm games already. I have
I
to
know.
really see what it's going to add to the genre to make it
Yeah,
worth.
I mean, I don't know that it really adds anything that other rhythm games don't have. It's just another rhythm game. Um, I personally, I like the environment and the graphics on it, and it's kind of like Fit XR where you are punching as opposed to just having to be in the right spot. Um,
Right.
and it's also kind of like Synth Riders, in that there are rail spots that you have to hold your hand in the right spot and then follow the path with the hand. So it's a mixture of elements from a few different things, So
Okay. See how it goes over.
yeah.
Music they
So
have.
and speaking of being untethered, Unplugged will be coming out on October 21st.
That's the air guitar one.
Yep, the Unplugged air guitar hand tracking game.
Oh,
So
it should be kind of cool. I mean,
my son is looking forward to that. So he told me he wanted it. So
okay. I can't decide whether or not I'll play it for 20 minutes or an hour and that's it, or whether it's something that would be a good purchase.
yeah, I mean it's basically the Guitar Hero or Rock Band for VR, only with hand tracking. You are literally strumming your hand up and down in midair, and they're doing uh, all the fingering changes with your hand in midair. So,
I mean, I said that pretty soon they'll be selling controllers that are shaped like the guitar, so you can.
well, I think RJ says, if I remember right, he posted a picture of a plastic
Right.
guitar, a clear plastic guitar.
Yeah, that would be perfect, really, because that would help you as opposed to hands in the air.
Right.
Because
So,
tracking, I can see that being kind of weird because how is it going to follow your hands when you're normally so far below where they track your hands?
well,
It's
no, because the, the hand tracking goes down a little bit further than it looks like it should to go down. I mean, it doesn't go down as far as the controllers do, but it still goes down quite a way. Then you're right. Maybe you'll um, have to, instead of the low slung on the hip stance, it would have to be up on the belly stance or whatever.
yeah,
So
that's what I'm wondering about too. I have to see where you have to hold this thing for it to be accurate.
yeah,
Because I would go for the hip stance, and to me, I just don't see how it's going to do hip stance with hand tracking at this point. But maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. We'll see.
maybe. So, anyways, we also have a little known game called Resident Evil 4 that's supposed to be
Uh,
coming out on October 21st.
a complete unknown.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, very little known game. Nobody knows anything about it.
It looks like they're. Yeah, I know. It looks good. I mean, what can I
Yeah,
say? Like a great, monster shooter, mutant shooter,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
Once again, nothing we don't have
Right,
other than the title.
right. Yeah,
And,
yeah. The only
you know,
thing I don't really like about it, and it may feel okay in actual gameplay, I don't know, but the quick time event stuff where you jump through the window and then you are roundhouse to kicking, and you actually stay inside of the house or whatever. Your character goes out the window, and then you're remote controlling your character kicking the bad guy.
I guess it sounds stupid. I guess if they do it right, it might work. But to me, it just sounds.
Yeah, VR is not necessarily the right place to have those the cinematic, the
Well,
quick
the
time
thing is,
event, the cutscene things. You want to be in those, not watching those.
well, that's the thing is if they make it so that it's some sort of avatar that you're able to project to fight this thing while still being in the safety behind it, and they build
Right, right,
as opposed to being a mistake, they make it a feature.
right. Well,
It's
yeah,
not a bug, it's a feature, you know. And then, maybe they could incorporate. That's what I'm saying is maybe they can incorporate it so that it's a cooler type feature that you
Right.
can deal with as opposed to, intermission and,
Right.
you
Who
can put,
knows? Who knows? Which is why I said it may feel okay in the actual game. I don't know. But
right.
looking at the trailer, that's one thing that would make me kind of hesitate a little bit about it.
At this
So,
point, I hesitate on every game. I used to do
yeah.
it on drop, as soon as they release it, and I found you don't have to. At this point, you can wait a day or two and see let other people pick up on the bugs, let the developers fix it a bit.
Right. So, we also have another new game. So this is one that I don't know if it's coming out this week or next week, but supposedly it's supposed to be coming out this month. Iron Rebellion, which is a giant mech game. It's a multiplayer giant mech combat game. I played a demo of it. It was cool. It felt fun to control the mechs. It was intuitive, unlike a lot of other mechs games where it's like step,
What? I know.
step, step, and that's your fastest speed. You can
Yeah,
actually
no.
move fast in this. I mean, I know they are giant mechs, so it's not like they'll be going step, 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 step. But each step covers a lot of ground, so you should still get a feeling of moving pretty fast.
Right.
So because you are moving fast.
Exactly. It's your height and the stride that makes it, not the speed of the step.
Right,
So
right. So, but
okay.
it was one that felt good in the demo, and so that's what I've been looking forward to. And there was an early access trailer released yesterday or the day before, I think. So they are moving forward and getting closer to the actual release of it. So it's something to be watching for in the next couple weeks, hopefully.
Well, you're gonna be
Eh,
watching a lot of things coming in the next couple of weeks. It seems
yeah,
like
I know, right?
all of a sudden the floodgates open.
Yeah. And last but not least on my list of the upcoming titles, we have Ragnarok that was announced as coming out this next week as well. That's the Viking rhythm drumming game where you are powering your longboat by drumming on the drums to the beat of the Viking songs.
Right. Well, it sounds like something you would enjoy. I know you do that on your desk now, so it'll be nice to have a boat in front of you while you do it. Um, I just don't know yet. I just
Right.
once again, it's the type of thing where it could be a great game for an hour.
Right, exactly. A lot of these these games are fun, but is it fun enough to hold my attention and make me come back to it multiple times, or is it just fun for the first time?
Exactly, exactly. And that's, once again, as we're getting into these 20, 25, 30, $35 games, it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
So, and some of them might be great, and you might want to wait for the next 50% off sale or whatever. But
right.
some of them, I don't know. There's a lot of duplication in a lot of games these days.
Yeah,
So you,
and speaking of sales, right now is a good time to look for sales because this is the 1 year anniversary of the Quest 2.
yeah,
So
that's what
there's an
by
anniversary sale going on right now. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be going on, but there are packs that are on sale, individual titles that are on sale. So
it ends Sunday. So depending on
okay,
when this gets,
okay. So it may be already over by the time this
but it
video
was a great
is
sale if you
over.
did.
Yeah,
But yeah, anywhere from 20 to 50% off on some games. It hurt. It really did hurt for every game that I didn't get 20 to 50% off.
yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah,
can understand that. Yeah. So, and we have the Vive Flow that's been leak announced, I guess would be the right term.
Was the leak, which
Leak
is
announced.
I'm just still not really sure who it's for, other than a meditation freak who hasn't.
Well, they were kind of marketing it, I guess, as a mental health sort of device, or a mental health is a friendly device, which
Yeah,
would kind of go with the name Flow, you know. But
so does Eat My Grits.
what?
So does Eat My Grits go with the name Flo, but
Okay.
Mel's Diner? No, never mind. Um,
Anywho,
yeah. Um,
um,
Once again, the
I'm assuming
flow.
that's a moment.
Yeah, it is. I guess no use going back to explain it. Somebody out there might know. Sorry, Seb, but I'm not. I know you won't. But anyway, I don't know. To me, it seems like it was supposed to be 5K, and it's not. It has great lenses, but no power. Um,
Right. Well,
I'm
yeah. Well, what it is, if you lived under a rock and don't know, or you just didn't bother looking at the leaked specs, is the marketing 4K, 5K, 6K, or whatever resolution, but um, given how they market the other things, that means probably like the 1600 per eye or whatever. So
correct.
it is good resolution, and I want to say that's roughly equal to the Quest 2.
Roughly.
Yeah, so it'll be about the same resolution there. It's very lightweight because it's got no power in it, as you mentioned. It's got a tiny battery in it that is just big enough to allow you to unplug your dead external battery and plug in another one. So, yeah, so that's what it is meant for, is so that you can hot swap the power source without losing what you were working on. It also comes with no controller, comes with no hand tracking at this point. That'll be arriving later on, and no head-based control option, evidently. So the only way you can control it right now is to pair an Android phone with it as a controller. A 3DOF controller, like with the Go or the Gear VR. So it's not, you can't do a translation, forward, down, up, down, back, right, left. It only does rotation. Which way are you pointing? And if you have an Android device, you can cast some of your apps and the screens and whatnot to the headset, so you can watch things or look at your email or whatever. It's got black and white pass through on it, and it's got piped in audio just like the Quest does. You know, so
And diopters built onto the lenses.
yes, that is the feature that I think is really the only really innovative feature on it. Is
Right.
it has individual per eye diopter adjustment.
Which is
So
great.
you don't need to go to vrlenses.com or whatever and buy prescription lenses
And
for it.
made correct.
You can just adjust it if you know your prescription.
But
It goes
honestly,
from 0 to 6, I think. So,
right. It just doesn't.
so if your prescription is above 6, you're probably out of luck. Sorry, go
Right.
ahead.
Exactly. But no, seriously, it becomes a very expensive for what it is. Until it matures, it's
Yeah,
real. I don't see it.
yeah. I mean, RJ did make an app for it, but even he is saying that it's kind of mostly a media device. It's for watching stuff at this point. You know?
Right.
Um,
And,
and his app is a yoga app where you're doing moves or whatever, but it can't tell you are doing any of the moves because it can only track your head. So you have to move your head left and right to have the have the incoming balls hit your head, you know. So
yeah, no, like I said, the more we talk about it, the less I like it. So, and
yeah,
I was prepared, if it was going to be mind blowing and 5K per eye, or if it was going to be, like some amazing marvel, I might have been able to go in, but not even to have color cameras on the pass through.
right,
And
right,
it just,
and
like I said, and the diopters
yeah,
and the fact that it doesn't weigh anything, but it has no power source anyway. So, of
yeah.
course,
Now, what I do like though is how Vive and Boz were trolling each other on Twitter about it.
yeah, that was kind of cute, you know.
Yeah, and Boz pointed out, hey, we have the prototype the VR devices, and showed a picture of one that looks similar in design, but has a strap and obviously looks like it might have a battery on the back of it too. So
I know. And then they have Zuck wearing what he calls the retina level display on
yeah,
the next Quest. So,
yeah,
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 look, I'm sure that's one of the reasons for the big sale, and I'm sure that's the reason for the lowered price. And they don't really want to let HTC get any more. And believe me, I think HTC turned off enough people with their own advertising that they don't have to worry about it. It
yeah.
really, I
I
think the
mean,
best.
I like the Vive itself. I don't like the lighthouses and all that sort of stuff, and I don't like the Vive wands. And I have heard that the index controllers, although they are really cool, they are very fragile. So
But the headsets are great.
yes,
I have Pro, and I
yeah,
have a Vive, and they're comfortable and they're great, and the sound is fantastic, and the
right,
visuals are beautiful. But
yeah,
those outside boxes, woof,
yeah,
yeah, that becomes such a pain. At the beginning it was like, oh, cool, who cares, But
right,
now, having lived with Quest and everything else, it's like I care, you know.
right, right, right,
So yeah, the idea of setting it up again and then having the whole thing go haywire because something goes kaplooey, and all of a sudden you
yeah,
find yourself floating in space and you're nauseous as hell because you're 80 feet above the ground. Yeah,
right,
no, no more
right,
light boxes.
yeah. Meanwhile, Roblox is emerging as a possible VR metaverse contender. My
Yeah,
own interpretation of it, but uh, they had a Roblox developer conference recently where um, they introduced that similar to Rec Room, they're going to be introducing camera facial tracking so that as you move your head in your life and smile and talk and whatnot, it will reflect that on your avatar's face. And they're going to be bringing in voice chat if you are over 13. Um, and they're bringing in more human looking avatars with much more expressive facial expressions, which is already making a lot of people upset because that's not the traditional Roblox look.
well,
And
and that's what I'm going to say is nobody's happy with any avatar at this point.
right,
So I'm amazed that that has not been a more. It seemed to be really something in development for a while there, and something that would be fantastic. I don't know if it's just cross-platform won't support it, or they're just too late. I don't know, but yeah, the avatar create at this point. That's my main problem in VR is the avatar creation tools are pretty crappy. And all of these metaverses use these really crummy avatars, which are very immersion breaking. You know, it's no Ready Player One. I don't care what they say. You know.
Right. And there was also a a tech demo video given of a Roblox game that's going to be coming out October 20th, I think. Pretty sure it's a PC only one that is not going to run on the mobile version of Roblox. That doesn't look like a Roblox game. It looks more like a No Man's Sky level graphics.
Wow.
And they will be releasing a kit on how to build that as well for the developers. And it looks, I mean, it looks on par with a lot of non Roblox PC titles, honestly. So,
Wow.
on the graphics.
That's
And they said they have 1.3 million developers and creators that are on track to earn a conglomerate $500 million on their platform. So if you are able to be a Roblox developer, it can be a very profitable thing to do.
like they're opening a new avenue there for
Yeah.
people.
And the Roblox CEO was asked specifically about VR, and he gave kind of a word salad answer. You know, it wasn't a clear cut. Oh yeah, well, we're going to do this. You know, but he's saying VR is integral and is important, and yes, we are going to be focusing on it. And he expressed interest in the Quest 2 in the past, if I remember right. So who knows? At some point, Roblox may be on the Quest 2
At this point,
as a Quest 2 native app. I mean, you know, who knows? So
yeah, I don't.
I know you don't. I don't either.
Yeah, but yeah, I just see the development moving ahead, and with the fact that they're talking about the Quest Pro and all the other stuff that, and PSVR 2 and all that other stuff. Yeah, I think we'll be moving ahead firmly for the next 6 months to a year, especially with Apple getting in there too. So.
Yep. So moving on, we have Accenture purchasing 60,000 Quest 2s for training.
Yeah,
That's the largest purchase for training purposes, or actually for any purpose yet.
Right.
And Accenture is an IT development and consulting firm, if you're not so familiar with them. So, and they are using this for training. What? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, sorry. Where were we?
I was talking about Accenture and what it is, and can you say something?
Right. I was reading that they said that this was a great way for information exchange within the company, and that it was the cool factor as well, and that they found it to be the best method for training.
Right.
And you know, seriously, when you buy that many, you're putting your money where your mouth is. So
Yes.
when an IT group goes with it, it's very hard to now say VR is dead.
Yes.
You know,
you can still say that it's not yet completely mainstream, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting there at this point.
right.
So, so yeah, I thought that was really cool. Thank you for finding that link and getting it on the show.
Yeah, no, it was, to me, that was amazing. Absolutely mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was happy to do that.
Yes. And we have, so someone on Twitter has been working on physical wall occlusion test with the Quest 2 pass-through. So basically, one thing that's a limitation on the Quest 2 the pass-through API right now is it doesn't do any surface detection. But that doesn't mean that you can't put surface detection in to your app. It just is not pulling it off of the actual cameras. You know, it's not being done by the headset. It would need to be done by your app. So he had a short video where he had a doorway in front of him. On the other side of the doorway, on the other side of the hall, on the wall, there was a sign. When you moved to the right, it occluded behind the door, as it should. When you moved to the left, it went back in to visibility. And he stepped out into the hall, looked to his left, and lo and behold, there was like a zombie standing there. So that's very promising. It looks cool. That opens up the door potentially for more actual AR-like experiences with the Quest 2.
Right, which means that they'll be advanced in the next Quest as well. So
yeah,
I am looking for it to be both devices. It's just a matter of when they're going to launch the Pro or the Quest 3, and
right.
I guess the Quest 1 is really being, what did Seba say? He feels like he's on a typewriter now. The Quest 1 seems to be out of the equation, and the Quest 2 seems to be the main focus for them at this point.
Well, right. I mean, and we knew that was going to come because it's been over a year now since they discontinued production of the Quest 1, so they're not going to keep supporting it for very much longer, I think. So
Right. The problem comes in, though, is that we just celebrated the first year anniversary of the Quest 2.
I know.
And from a market point of view, how quickly can you introduce another headset before people go, wait?
Exactly, yep. Speaking
So,
of other headsets, though, the Lynx headset on his Kickstarter has evidently so far raised double its original goal.
right.
So,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. When I see that that it sits there with nothing around the side of your eyes, it's like
Yeah, well, I think it comes with a attachment to put around, as uh, as a light blocker thing. But
right.
but yeah, I know what you mean on that. That's a little bit weird. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't work. I really don't know because I haven't tried it, and I'm
Right.
not likely to try it anytime soon unless they decide they want to send me one for me to try, which I really doubt that they would because we don't have 1 million subscribers yet.
Well, that's crazy. There must be something wrong with the logistics
Yeah.
on the web, because everybody I speak to watches us every weekend.
Yes, I know. So, anyways, Pimax is also promising a leak on October 25th of a new next-gen VR device. It's probably going to be the Pimax 24K, the gold edition.
Yeah, with a 240-degree field of vision, and oh my God, I have no idea what Pimax is going to do. I really don't.
Yeah, it's going to wrap around from just the back of your ears.
Right, and yeah, you're going to break your neck trying to be able to see everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it would be great if they could do it with something that didn't stick out of your head like an old samurai straw hat or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes you look like a weird Japanese superhero or something with it on.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no, they got to do something with this, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, but we'll see what they have to leak. Meanwhile, Creed has evidently reached the 1 million units sold milestone.
Yeah, don't get it. We talked about it in the last show. Didn't love it. Don't understand how 1 million people have purchased it, but hey.
Well, it took them a lot longer than it took other titles, given that they were a launch title.
Yeah, I know, but they still, I mean, seriously, man. It's Creed. But anyway, maybe they've done, I don't think they've done any updates to that game. Yeah, there was like one update I think they did at some point.
Yeah.
It's been so minimal. I mean, talk about a game that's received one of the least attention since Dead and Buried 2 and or VR cards, and it becomes a million seller. So I guess, yeah, once again, VR's dead.
Yeah. So, last but not least, Shotwood has been announced as coming out for the Rift on October 28th, and the Quest version will arrive on App Lab on December 23rd. So, a Christmas title, but it's not a Christmas-oriented game. No. This is comparable to Gun Club VR or Lethal VR. It, according to the Upload VR article, it sees players tackle courses filled with human-shaped wooden targets aiming for high scores. The game features more than 17 realistically realized weapons that need to be uniquely reloaded and can be customized with attachments, too. It's set in a mysterious facility that gives you several challenges. Not all of the targets are the static wooden targets, but there's also ones that will fight back. So, and evidently it's got mini games that are Sword and Shield, and there's a blackjack on a virtual arcade machine. So, there you go.
Yeah, when you need mini games.
Well, so, I don't mind mini games as long as they're the main game as well. If it's only mini games, that's what I mind.
Shooting wouldn't talk. I mean, here I am looking at the review for Zero Caliber Reloaded, and it's like, and now you're talking about shooting at wooden targets again. And it's,
yeah, well, it's more of a. This is more of a sandbox kind of thing, like Gun Club is. It just sounds like, it's more of a, hey, I get to go to a shooting range and shoot all the guns that I can't shoot in real life because, I can't shoot a fully automatic rifle in real life. I'd get arrested, so that sort of thing.
Right. I just I like the realism in virtual reality. If I shoot somebody, yes, you should be able to turn the blood on and off, I guess. But I like the, I mean, God, we talk about visceral games like Sniper Elite. And now you have card. It's like, okay, I guess it's whatever you want.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's another game that's going to be coming out. It's kind of. I think it's a little bit weird that there's such a big separation between the Rift and the Quest version. But what that tells me is that they probably started developing for Rift and then did the Quest version after they got started with that, which means that they're not quite as far along on the Quest development because that requires more optimization than the Rift version does. So.
Right. Well, they'll get around to it, I'm sure. Yeah. Considering there aren't many Rifts around anymore, and
Yep, this is true. So, anyways, that brings us to the end of the show.
Wow, we got here pretty quick.
Yes. Pretty quick, considering that it's 2:15 p.m. now, and we started trying, around noon?
Yeah, something like that.
That many technical difficulties, folks.
It really was. But, we persevered, and hopefully when this recording comes out, you won't just be two little blue squares revolving around
They
each other.
won't. They won't. No.
That's good.
So, on that note, have a great rest of your week. Remember, drag your friends over and have them like and subscribe, and then to defenestrate them.
Ooh.
Throw them out of your
Okay.
windows. Get them back on their Mac.
Gotcha. Okay, then.
All right. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Take care.